My name's Jim. I'm from down south of Austin, down on the Gulf Coast. I've been around the TSL community for 2 years, 2+ years now, almost 3, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It changed my life, and it made me a stronger person and more a man. And if it's possible, even increase the power of my sexuality. I've been a pretty powerfully sexual person all my life, but this bumped it up another notch. Well, like so many guys that come here, I did a lot of pickup stuff before I got here. And so I've been around the community and have a general idea of what they have to offer. I did the rounds. I started with David D'Angelo, like everybody, and yada yada. And I do kind of maintain a dual membership in the Emirati with Sam Perion's guys. But TSL, the sexual life, is in a class by itself. There's nothing anywhere close to this. It's not just a course. It is a whole community, an ongoing community of men that listen to and support each other on every level. It's not just about our relationships with women. It's about being a man in the world. I mean, we work with each other, you know, in our business lives and how we deal with our families and how we deal with our jobs and everything that is part of a man's life. You know, we talk to each other about how to find adventures and how to you know, save enough money to travel and everything that is part of a man's life. We share with each other, and I think, and certainly when I was young, there was not the opportunity to do that. I'm a teacher. I'm kind of genetically a teacher at heart, and I've seen it change so many people's lives, dramatically change people's lives. Guys who were really struggling on you know, a variety of levels, whether it's that they had just declared bankruptcy or just been divorced, or they have Asperger's, or you know, they have this you know, agoraphobia. They can't leave the house. Yeah, and we've seen this on a regular basis change people's lives. It works. It's a repeatable process that will over and over again improve men's lives and change people's lives who are really struggling to get by. And I want to be a part of that. You know, I want to be a part of that. And it's, we know how to do that. We can do it on a regular basis. If you'll just sit down and listen. If you show up and you do the work, it'll change your life. I probably represent that group of people. Okay, my wife died 8 years ago now, and I was 50 at the time, and so I probably represent that whole group of people that are trying to get back out into the world. You know, whether you're, you know, over 40 and just gone through a terrible divorce, or you know, over 30 and you think that you're over the hill, whatever. I probably represent that group of people, and I assure you, gentlemen, you can get your stuff together and get back out in the world in relatively short order. It really doesn't take long. I mean, TSL, the Sexual Life, is a 3-month, 90-day course. And I'm not saying it'll change your life in 90 days, but we have, some people get it in 90 days. Some people come back for 2 or 3 rounds. And we have quite a few guys that take the 3-month course and come back 6 months later or a year later and say, it changed my life. Sometimes it takes a little while to sink in, but nevertheless, no matter how long it takes, I assure you that this process can put you back out in the world and make you a social person. That's ultimately what it's about. I mean, it's hard for me to even see it as pickup anymore. It's not pickup anymore. It's about social skill. It's about the ability to go out and walk up and have a conversation with anybody, anywhere, anytime. And oh, by the way, that includes gorgeous women, and yes, you will get laid. You know, you got to. That's part of life. You'll get laid, you'll get jobs, you'll get promotions, you'll make sales, you'll make friends, you'll have adventures, you'll have a good time. You'll build a real good life. And that's what this is about. And oh, by the way, you'll get laid too. Pickup, as we know it, as we knew it, is a relatively shallow thing. I mean, it teaches you techniques, but this gives you a whole different context to do this in. It's not a regular technique. It's how to relate with people on a, I don't want to call it improvisational basis, but no matter what comes up, you'll be ready to deal with people on some level. You know, there's a real interest that will come from you and from them. You know, this is connection on a deeper level. Like I say, I hesitate to even call this pickup. It's way out beyond this. It's about social skills. I understand how you couldn't be jaded and disappointed with pickup. I mean, I think we all have been at some point really disappointed with what pickup promised and what they didn't deliver. You know, over and over, what they didn't deliver. But this is a whole different level. You come on and try it. I mean, give it 3 months, give it 90 days, and make a real honest effort. Show up, do the work, and see for yourself what the results are. They've been consistently good. I'm not saying that it'll make you a rock star, but it'll definitely help you enjoy life a lot more. Steve and Nick Quick were teaching a course together. Mm-hmm. Two really good guys. And I think I had done some of Nick's material before that. And so I had no idea who this Steve Mayeda guy was. But Nick was doing the course, and so I got on it. And all of a sudden, I discovered this extraordinary individual who, Steve is an outstanding teacher. Like I said earlier, I'm sort of genetically a teacher. I've discovered that that's one of my real true skills in life, something that's deeply satisfying. And teachers can identify each other. You can see another one. And Steve Mayeda is a world-class teacher. And I saw that. And so when the course with Nick was over, I just kind of directly transitioned over into the sexual life and have been taking the course pretty much ever since. I had just gone through, my life was a disaster. My life was a disaster. Not only had my wife recently died, a couple of years before that. My first and only girlfriend after my wife died. We were in love. It was this legendary love affair, and I wanted to marry her, and she left me for her ex. She dumped me for her ex. It was kind of devastating, on top of all the other things, and my life in general was a mess. And you've got to put it together somehow. And at that point in time, which would have been, 5 years ago, more or less, pickup was what there was. At least if you wanted to get laid, and I want to get laid. So that's what got me started in pickup in the first place, was trying to recover from those two disastrous relationships. I would say that a lot of it came from TSL. I would say that a lot of it came from TSL. When you learn to have real conversations, real connections with people, women included, then they just become a lot more real. You know, up until then, women were sort of a distant thing that I couldn't connect with. They were statues, you know, that were a mystery. And once you learn to make real connections, then they become human beings. And interesting human beings that I'm really curious about, and that I really enjoy being. I discovered that I really and truly enjoy the company of women. I like to hang out with them. They smell good. Well, it's true. They smell good. You know, they smell good. They look pretty. They're smart, and they have good conversations, and they like to have adventures just like we do. And there's so much about women that it's a blast hanging out with them, just like it's a blast hanging out with guys. Only they're pretty and they smell good while they're being a lot of fun. So I have, over the last few years, discovered a lot of affection and enjoyment and respect and curiosity about women. I really and truly enjoy their company. They're amazing human beings. They're strong, they're smart. Every bit as strong and smart as we are. You know, and they're fun to hang out with if you can relax, and if you can get them to relax. They're just a blast to hang out with. I've been very, very fortunate in my life to have had some tremendous experiences and adventures. The probably 5 years or so before TSL, no, I was not happy. But back through the course of my life, dude, they make movies about this shit. You really want to hear the story? I mean, I grew up in a little mill town. I was a street racer. I married into the mafia. It just went on from there. I had a great life. I had a fantastic life. It's just that I had those years of crash, you know, and I didn't know how to get it back. I didn't know how to get it back. And there's so many men that are in that position, that they've just gone through some devastation in their life. And there's no other way to describe it except devastation. Your life is just torn down to the ground. You know, and they don't know how to get back out in the world. And the sexual life is a way to get there. It's a way to get there. Maybe not overnight. Maybe not necessarily in 90 days. Like I said, we have a lot of guys that come back after 6 months or a year and say, this made all the difference in the world. But it might have taken a year to make all the difference in the world. Let me at first step back and take a look at the larger subject of sexuality in general. Because for me, the way that I understand sexuality is that it really has 4 parts. Lust, pure lust. There's passion, which is the excitement, the emotion. Sensuality, which most of us give sensuality kind of a short life, and it deserves a whole lot more than that. And it's difficult to maintain. You know, once you get into a mode of pure sensuality, it's easy to fall out of it, especially to fall out of it into romance, which is nice and soft. Romance being the 4th part of sexuality, right? We all need that. No matter how tough and hard you think you are, if you're going to have a sexually satisfying relationship, it's got to have romance. I'm sorry, guys. If you're gonna do seduction, real deep, powerful, strong seduction, there will inevitably be romance involved, right? And it could be as simple as cuddling and holding and affection. It could be just as simple as affection, which I consider under that heading of romance. It could be, wild, crazy love. It could be the galactic greatest love story of all time. Whatever your version of it is. And it probably will end up being all those things combined. But, yeah, romance is an essential part of seduction. And especially if you're going to really deeply, powerfully seduce a woman, which inevitably means that you yourself will be deeply, powerfully seduced. It's a two-way street. You've got to go first if you want to get this in return. But to me, that's where romance fits into the picture, is part of that complete picture of sexuality. That I don't find satisfaction without all of those components in one mix or another. This is a group of men. I would like to say people, men and women, but at this point, it's just men. Maybe we'll grow beyond that. A group of men who is discovering our place in the world and our way to how to make our way through the world as men who are able to connect with the world around us, who are able to discover the world around us, who are able to respect the world around us. Meaning women, men, the earth, everything. To be able to find a way to communicate and to connect and understand and respect the world around us as men, as an expression of masculinity. That, I think, is right at the core of what the sexual life is about. Absolutely. It's been one of the best things to ever happen to me in my life.